Why has the cost of living gone up over the past 60 years, but wages, accounting for inflation, have remained essentially stagnant by comparison? Please provide data, evidence, and thorough context to support your answer.
Over the past 60 years, the cost of living in the United States has risen dramatically, while wages, when adjusted for inflation, have remained largely stagnant for most workers. This divergence between living costs and wage growth has led to significant economic challenges for many Americans. Let's examine the data and context behind this trend. Wage stagnation. Despite overall economic growth and increased productivity, wages for most American workers have seen minimal real growth since the 1970s. From 1979 to 2020, workers' wages grew by only 17.5%, while productivity grew over 3 times as fast. After adjusting for inflation, wages are only 10% higher in 2017 than they were in 1973, with annual real wage growth just below 0.2%. For the bottom 90% of earners, real wages grew just 15% from 1979 to 2013, compared to 138% growth for the top 1%. This stagnation is particularly pronounced for lower-income workers. Wages for the 10th percentile have only increased 6.5% in real terms since 1979, while wages for the 90th percentile have gone up 41.3%. For men at the 10th percentile, real wages have actually decreased since 1979. Rising cost of living. Meanwhile, the cost of essential goods and services has increased significantly. From 1960 to 2000, the cost of rent increased by 750%. Even accounting for inflation, this represents a 46% increase. College tuition costs have risen by 129% for private institutions and 213% for public institutions over the past 3 decades. Median home prices have increased 121% nationwide since 1960, but median household income only increased 29%. Factors contributing to the divergence. Several factors have contributed to this growing disparity between wages and living costs. 1. Declining union power. The weakening of labor unions has reduced workers' collective bargaining power. 2. Globalization and automation. These forces have led to job outsourcing and replacement of some roles with technology, particularly affecting lower-skilled workers. 3. Market concentration. Increased employer concentration in local job markets has given companies more power to suppress wages. 4. Policy choices. Government policies have often favored corporate interests over workers, such as allowing stock buybacks, which can drive up share prices at the expense of wage increases. 5. Shift in corporate priorities. There has been a focus on maximizing shareholder value rather than investing in workers. 6. Rising non-wage. Compensation, increasing benefit costs, particularly for health insurance, may be constraining employers' ability or willingness to raise cash wages. Consequences. This divergence between wages and living costs has led to several significant consequences. Increased income. Inequality. The gap between high-income and low-income earners has widened substantially. Reduced purchasing power. Many workers, especially those in lower income brackets, struggle to afford basic necessities. Decreased economic mobility. It has become more difficult for individuals to move up the economic ladder. Changing living arrangements. There has been an increase in multi-generational households and young adults living with parents due to affordability issues. Conclusion. The stagnation of wages in the face of rising living costs over the past 60 years is a complex issue rooted in various economic, policy, and social factors. While the economy has grown and productivity has increased, the benefits have not been evenly distributed among workers. Addressing this disparity will likely require a multifaceted approach, including policy changes, corporate responsibility, and efforts to strengthen workers' bargaining power. As the situation continues to evolve, it remains a critical issue affecting the financial well-being of many Americans and the overall health of the economy.